The Roadrunner became the second speediest blue animal alive, for on June 23, 1991, Sega released Sonic the Hedgehog to a Nintendo fervent North American audience passionately preoccupied with plumbers, pipes, and princesses. Interestingly enough, though the first in the series, Sonic the Hedgehog was actually not the character's first appearance. That honor belongs to Rad Mobile. Look at that, a Sonic air freshener. Okay, that's a bit degrading. At the time of the spin-dashing Speedster's genesis, Nintendo held an unchallenged stranglehold on the gaming market. The NES and its red-capped mascot had rescued the video game industry from the depths of a landfill, and with a legendary library of classics like Metroid and Zelda, not to mention its Super Nintendo ready to launch, Sega and its own unofficial mascot, Alex Kidd, were hard-pressed to hold a candle. What the company needed was their own icon. The design was perfect, an anthropomorphic hedgehog with a cool kid persona and almost anti-hero attitude was the ultimate contrast with the working-class, mature hero in Mario. Sega and Sonic were blue, Nintendo and Mario were red. It was the simplest statement of sides. This was war. Without even discussing the game itself, Sonic the Hedgehog's influence on the industry was immense, as it revolutionized the concept of video game marketing. In a first-time foray, the AAA, in which all of Sega's hopes lay, was actually bundled with the Sega Genesis in an effort to accelerate sales. A common practice today, yes, but inconceivable in 1991 when the logical tradition dictated throwing in the crappy games instead of giving away your high-profit margin titles for nothing. The gamble paid in spades, or rings, and Sega would cement its salvation. But of course, some of that had to do with the game itself. Speed was the signature of Sega's sprint to success. No platformer had ever moved as fast. With the capabilities of today's hardware, moving through a level fast enough to dry your eyeballs is a feasible feat. But in 1991, forget about it. It was unheard of. The consoles just didn't have the power for it, or so developer and publisher alike believed. And the series' trademark loop-de-loops just put that exclamation point on the ridiculous rapidity. Swiftly taking by storm, the seeds of a sequel were obviously planted, and continuing its ferociously fast forerunner's example, Sonic 2 would further revolutionize the model of marketing in the video game industry, with Sonic Tuesday, the first true international launch of a video game. Sonic 2, with even faster gameplay that made mincemeat of the original's tedious platforming perils, with awesome additions like the Spin Dash and memorable new characters like Tails, would mark the end of Nintendo's undisputed monopoly over the market share. It's more than 90% reduced to 50% within a year of the game's release. Naturally, many sequels and spin-offs followed. The good ones sticking to the core of that 2D side-scrolling speed, and the bad ones getting lost in a lethargic labyrinth. Sonic moving so slow he need moving walkways that you find in the airport to get him from the sofa to the fridge. Ultimately, after breaking the sound barrier, Sonic would break the dimensional barrier, starring in full-form 3D in Sonic Adventure and Adventure 2, before then breaking the unthinkable platform publisher barrier, appearing on Nintendo's GameCube and Wii, among other consoles, as Sega opted out of the manufacturing business. Sonic, of course, would then become the subject of ridicule and rage in a downhill decade-long slump. But the franchise still has its nostalgic faithful, and good or bad, the long line of games, merchandising, and media tie-ins like the animated series renditions speaks to that steadfast salute to Sega's saturated series, by those who felt like they were gonna be sick in their first sitting, seeing Sonic speed his way to storybook success. June 23rd, 1991, this day in gaming.